Hello and welcome. So today, guys, we are going to be talking about the latest launch from Lattafa. Now, these are two fragrances, and I have to tell you that they are very, very special. I'm going to first be talking about Atheeri, which comes in this gorgeous bottle. I mean, look at this bottle. It has like that bee motif. But the bottle itself, it looks like a honeycomb. It's just very, very beautiful. And then we're going to be talking about another Khamrah, and this one is Dukhan. And I have to tell you, like, of course, the bottle is the same as all the other cameras, but I have a lot to say about this one. So I'm going to be giving you a review of each fragrance. I'm going to be comparing the Atheeri to the one that it was allegedly inspired by. And of course, I'm going to be doing a detailed comparison of the new Khamrah, to the original Khamrah and the Qahwa Khamrah. But anyway, before we jump right in, if this is your first time here, I'm Arahi, and I'm your fragrance concierge because I'm totally committed to creating the best fragrance experience for you. I upload videos multiple times a week, and on this channel, we talk about all types of fragrances. So if that sounds like the type of content that you're interested in and like a good plan, then please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget, leave a comment. Let's go. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and start with Atheeri. So this fragrance is supposed to be inspired by Gucci Gorgeous Orchid, which is a fragrance that, if I recall correctly, I'm pretty sure it was launched last year, and it's the one that comes in the yellow bottle. Now, that is a fragrance that I have an unboxing for here on the channel, and you can go and check it out because I did pick it up, but honestly, guys, I ended up returning it because I was so underwhelmed by that fragrance. It's like, well, it was a nice fragrance. It didn't really perform at all on my skin. It gave me like a maximum, I'm not kidding you, it was like 3 hours at the most. And it just, I was just very, very underwhelmed. And I just felt like, why am I going to keep it when I know I'm never going to pull it? So I did return it. But this one is supposed to be inspired by that fragrance. So I am just super excited, and I have so been looking forward to trying this one. So let's see if it's really kind of like the same fragrance. Now, before I get started with all the details, let's talk about this bottle because this bottle is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, truly. But I will tell you though, so this here, some people may think that this is like plasticky, but it's not. The bottle is very weighty, and everything on it is really gives you the feel of like luxury. It really is a beautiful and very unique bottle. Now with that, I'm going to tell you that I just shared with you the notes, and I'm sure you noticed that there is no note of honey. So even though we have the bee and we have all this honeycomb motif on the bottle, there is no honey in this fragrance. But it is my understanding that the whole point of this whole bee motif and inspiration for their marketing is because the bee is supposed to like symbolize like a bee going through a fresh garden of, florals. So, with the sunlight streaking through, the bushes of florals in the garden. It's a whole concept, and I'm here for it. I think that it was a very good idea, and this bottle is really, really gorgeous. So also, before I get started on the details, I wanted to let you know that there is a note here that in case you're not familiar with passion flower, because passion flower to me is not a very common floral. So passion flower is a floral that gives like it has like this sweet floral scent to it that at the same can be or come across a bit citrusy. So that is definitely a floral that you're going to pick up in this fragrance. So this fragrance opens very, very, very floral. It's sweet. It has a touch of amberiness, but I find that the amber quality of the fragrance is going to intensify as you continue in the olfactory journey and then at dry down. This is definitely a sweet fragrance. It's not very sweet. It is ambery. It is very ambery. But after that initial opening, and the opening is a little bit fresh, but I think it's a function of the passion flower. It brings in that like citrusy quality to the fragrance, but the fragrance definitely opens up very floral. It's a bouquet of florals. I can't really distinguish what type of floral it is, but it does open with the florals and a bit of that citrusiness and a little bit of freshness. Now, as the journey continues, you are going to notice that you are going to pick up clearly. The one note that I pick up clearly in this fragrance, guys, is the note of orchid. And I also pick up on the vanilla. But before we even start with the vanilla, let me tell you that the orchid is definitely the star of this fragrance, and it is very dominant, starting approaching midway in the olfactory journey, all the way to the dry down and throughout the wear of the fragrance. Now, at the dry down, what you are going to get with this fragrance is a very beautiful spring perfection, and also suitable for the summer type of floral scent that is also ambery. But at that, the floral that takes the lead that you will definitely pick up on clearly at the dry down is the orchid. But it is coupled with like a supercharged vanilla, because I find that the vanilla does intensify throughout the journey, and at the dry down, you are getting quite a bit of vanilla right next to that orchid note. But at that dry down is just going to be beautiful and perfection for the spring season. In addition to that, at the dry down, you are going to have the orchid with that supercharged, I like to call it, vanilla. And in the background, you are going to have some woodiness. The woodiness is not very, it is present, but it's not dominant in any way, because at the dry down, the dominant note is the orchid coupled with that vanilla. The dry down is also powdery. It's not very powdery, but it is definitely powdery, and the fragrance never loses its ambery quality, as well as that touch of sweetness that I mentioned in the opening. Now, when it comes to comparing this fragrance to Gucci Flora Gorgeous Orchid, what I did is I pulled a little sample that I had, because as I told you, I did return my full-size bottle. But before I returned the bottle, I was able to use that fragrance a couple of times, because I really did love the scent of the fragrance. But as I said before, the performance was just horrific. But what I do find is the difference. And while this one, in my opinion, is about 80% Gucci Flora Gorgeous Orchid, I have to tell you that there are some differences, and they're not negligible. First of all, I find that this one is less sweet, and there is a woodiness to it that I did not find at all in Gucci Flora Gorgeous Orchid. I found that fragrance to be quite linear. I picked up on the orchid and I picked up on the vanilla, and that's all I got from beginning to end. That's one of the things that really disappointed me. It was very underwhelming to me. But this one, no, this one is not linear, because the other thing that I pick up on this one that I did not pick up in the Gucci one is that there is a bouquet of florals in this fragrance. But at that, the star is definitely the orchid. But you are going to pick up on a bouquet of florals. You are going to pick up in woodiness that you do not find in the Gucci fragrance. And it is less sweet and ambery. Now, that ambery quality makes this fragrance so elegant, so beautiful, just exquisitely done. That amberiness really plays very, very well in the background for that orchid in the vanilla. This fragrance has no oud, no musk, and I think it is really perfect for the spring and summer seasons primarily. But I must tell you that I really think you could get away with wearing this one during the fall season. I also have to tell you that I am so happy, because this one borders on beast on my skin. It is giving me 9+ hours with a very strong projection during the first 90 minutes. And then it becomes like a scent bubble. And the scent bubble gives me like an additional 2 hours. And after that, it is a skin scent. But it is a skin scent that goes on all day. So the performance in this one is just exceptional. And remember that this fragrance has not had a chance to sit. So I wonder if it's going to be full on beast by the time it has, the opportunity to sit in my collection for a couple of months. For me, this is suitable for all ages, for any occasion, day and night. And I have to tell you that this is a unisex fragrance. So I thought it was just me because, for some reason I thought that this would be more of a feminine fragrance. But no matter how I tried it, my opinion is that this is unisex. So I sprayed it and I took it to my husband and I asked him, what do you think? Do you think that this is a unisex fragrance, or is it leaning to the feminine or to the masculine side? And he said, no, that is unisex. And I said, are you sure? Here, sniff it again. And he's like, no, that is definitely a unisex unisex fragrance. So this is a unisex fragrance, and I think I am telling you, it is perfection for the spring and summer season. All in all, I think that this is such an incredible release from Lattafa, and this one is competing to be one of my favorite Lattafas so far. Now, you guys know that I love Mashrabiyah, which is a very recent release from Lattafa, but this one is competing to take that #1 spot because truly this is an exceptionally beautiful fragrance. You guys know that I'm always trying and testing new fragrances, and I've already made a tiny little bit of a dent on this one because I just spray it and spray it. It is really an exceptionally beautiful fragrance that is going to carry you perfect through the spring season. And honestly, Easter is coming up and Mother's Day, just perfection for that. All right, so I did debate, guys, if I was going to bring you the review of Khamrah Dukhan now or wait till we were approaching the fall season. But I figured, you know, we have fan members all over the world, and you may be in a season where this is really suitable. And we'll talk more about the seasons and what I think about that. But I have to tell you, so Dukhan is supposed to mean smoke, right? And I'm going to start by saying that this Khamrah may very well be my favorite, okay? I am telling you. So there's two notes here that make a difference between this Khamrah and the other two, the OG and Qahwa, and I am going to do a detailed comparison later on, but I just wanted to start by saying it because it is very important. The two notes that really make a marked difference in this specific Khamrah are the notes of tobacco and incense. The incense brings that smoky quality which automatically will set this one apart if you do a side-by-side comparison. Now, according to Lattafa, this Khamrah is supposed to take more of a masculine angle, and we will also discuss that in a bit. So Khamrah Dukhan does open spicy, and it does open with that DNA that we've come to expect from any Khamrah fragrance. In the opening, you're almost going to feel like, could it be that this one is almost the same as the original Khamrah and Qahwa, but they're not the same. But the opening is going to give you that same feel because it does have those spices, and the dominant spice that I pick up in the opening is definitely the cinnamon, which is that same DNA of the other two. Now, as the journey continues, you are going to pick up on other notes that really make a difference. And the one that I really pick up on strongly is the note of incense. But I don't pick it up as a type of incense. I pick it up more of like a smoky quality. So I guess what I'm trying to say that I don't pick up on the note of incense per se. What I get is like a smoky feel or quality to the fragrance overall, which I'm really, really enjoying. But at that, I do pick up on the note of tobacco clearly, but only as we approach the dry down. There are quite a number of notes in this fragrance, as I already shared with you. But the other note that I also pick up clearly in this one that I don't pick up as clear in the others, even though, you know, it may be a part of the other two because I think that they don't disclose all the notes. In this one, I am picking up the orange blossom, and I don't pick it up in the opening. I actually pick it up as we are approaching the dry down. But at the dry down, you're basically, in my opinion, going to get the same DNA that you get in the other Khamrahs, right? But at that, you are going to pick up on a smoky quality to the fragrance. You are going to pick up on the tobacco, and the fragrance, while not being as sweet as the other two, it is sweet. But it's interesting because the sweetness that I pick up is not necessarily that of a sweet tobacco. It's of a sweet scent that has a smooth tobacco in the background. But it is really, really a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. But now let's talk more about how does this one compare to the OG Khamrah and to Qahwa? Is this one redundant in your collection if you already own the other two? Or what can you expect from this one? So of the three and I have here, of course, I have a Khamrah, the OG, and then I have here Qahwa. Okay. Now, I did compare these side by side on paper and on skin, and the results were basically the same, right? So, what I find is that the original Khamrah is fresh in the opening. Not that it's a freshy fragrance, it is not, obviously, but it has a, rather fresh opening. But the freshness that you find in Dukhan is definitely more than the freshness that you find in Qahwa. So if we were to talk about that freshness overall, the airiness of the fragrance, I would say that the original Khamrah takes the lead, followed by Dukhan and then Qahwa. I also find Dukhan to be the most ambery of the three. As a matter of fact, in the other two, there's one, and I can't remember if I think it's in the OG. I'm not picking up any amberiness there. This one is definitely an ambery fragrance. I pick it up clearly, and I pick it up almost from the beginning, as I said before. This is the most ambery of the three, but at the same time, it is the one that is the least sweet. Another thing that I wanted to bring to your attention is that we've come to recognize the cinnamon that you find in the opening and throughout the use of Qahwa or the original Khamrah. But what I find is that although they did not disclose the note of cinnamon here in Dukhan, I am telling you, I pick up clearly on the note of cinnamon. So I think, if I recall correctly, that as part of the top notes, they said that there were spices in here. Well, yeah, there are spices, and one of them, I assure you, is the note of cinnamon, because that Khamrah DNA that we've come to understand from the two previous ones is definitely present here, and it is more about the cinnamon. But at that, I will tell you that the cinnamon is in this one is less intense than that you find in Khamrah, and especially in Qahwa, because to my nose, the cinnamon in Qahwa is the strongest of the three, followed by Khamrah, and then in this one. The last clear difference that I was able to pick up in this fragrance is when it comes to the florals. So this fragrance, all of the Khamrahs are really not what I would call floral fragrances. They're really not. But at that, they do have a very present floral, right? So in the original Khamrah, it was all about the tuberose. That's why I love this fragrance, because you know that I love tuberose. So the original Khamrah, to my nose, is about the tuberose. There are other florals, but the tuberose takes the lead. Now, when it comes to Qahwa, for me, I couldn't distinguish any of the florals. It's more about a bouquet, and I think it's a bouquet of white florals only. Now in this one, it is definitely about a bouquet of white florals, but at that, the lead is the orange blossom. Unmistakably, there is the orange blossom in the lead in Dukhan. So Dukhan is a fragrance that has no oud and no musk, and that I think is best suited, just like the others when I reviewed them, for the ages of 25 plus. Not because of anything, but it's definitely a fragrance that I think, I can't imagine a 20-year-old really, they wear this, of course. Could they pull it off? Of course. You could wear whatever you want. But I just think this is best suited for the ages of 25 plus. As far as seasons, I would say that this is more of a spring, beginning of spring, not even full on spring. Like, it has to be the beginning of spring where it's still kind of cool. And then, of course, fall and winter. I cannot imagine pulling this fragrance during the summer or during a warm or very warm day. No, this is definitely a fragrance to me that is fall, winter, and beginning of spring for sure. As far as performance, this one is performing right in line with the other Khamrahs. We've never had performance issues with Khamrah. So this is giving me a full day wear, a strong projection during a little bit over 90 minutes. And I think it's more of a function that this one has not had a chance to sit yet. And after that, it does become a scent bubble that lasts me quite a while. But towards the end of the day, it is definitely an intimate skin scent. All in all, guys, I think that Dukhan is a solid release from Lattafa. But I have to tell you that of these two fragrances, I think Atheeri really has my heart. This is such an incredibly beautiful fragrance. I'm telling you, it's competing to be my best Lattafa yet. I mean, I'm not addicted to it, but I'm a little bit obsessed with it, and it definitely has me on a chokehold. But this is definitely a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. And I think that maybe the reason I feel so strongly about it also is because we are in the spring season. And this is just perfection for spring, and it will carry you into the summer without any problem. All in all, I give Atheeri a 9.5 out of 10, and I give Dukhan a 9.5 out of 10 too, because these two are really, really solid releases coming out of the house of Lattafa. All right, guys, so that's all that I had for you today. I just wanted to come on here and share my review of these two fragrances. I have to tell you that I am very impressed with this launch from Lattafa. This has to be my favorite launch in a while, with the exception of Mashrabiyah, because you guys know that I am totally addicted and obsessed with that fragrance. But Atheeri is really, really a very welcome addition to the Lattafa collection for sure. Anyway, let me know if you've picked them up, if you agree with any of what I said. What are you picking up? How are you feeling about it? And if you haven't tried them, are you planning to give them a shot? Anyway, guys, thank you so much as always for hanging with me today, and I will see you all in the next video.